So internet, I decided to start this little series of video about the editor for Fear called WorldEdit. So in this first video I will talk about like the global stuff, what does what, which button do what, and like how to navigate in the editor. So this is not a game engine editor, this is a level editor. So it's made for, you know, we make maps with it. We make map for Fear with this editor, and we can also, of course, like not necessarily make the assets. Like we don't make assets with it, but we use assets to populate level and make it like look good. And also, of course, all the gray boxing. Before that, we do all the gray boxing and all the level design of a level for Fear. It's very similar to Hammer for Half-Life 2, which is way more more known. This is why I decided to do those tutorials, because this editor needs way more love, and it has some video already on YouTube to explain, on internet to explain how it works, but I decided like I feel like it needs more like tutorial and you know, and stuff. It needs more love, so I'm giving it more love. Yeah, so this one is called WorldEdit. It's similar if you already use like the editor for other elite tech games like Alien vs Predator or No One Lives Forever. It's the same editor. It's just that they update it when they do new games. They update it a bit, and it's a different version. But it's still like the core is still the same. So if you already used Dedit for previous tech games, it will be similar. So this is the one for Fear, WorldEdit. So the first thing I will start is I will talk about the interface of it, and all, like, you know, what is what. So the first thing, I'm not sure if my mouse is visible. I can make it more visible in the next video, like with the highlight. So the first thing we have is the viewport. We have the classic 4 viewport, like the 3D view, which we move in the 3D view with it's really weird versus like other like 3D viewport. We move in it with O, like we hold O to like turn like this, and we hold E. Our English is hard. E. We hold E for to move like this, like panning. So this is the basic, like this, and then the panning. And if we hold O, we can also press we can also excuse me, just that the map is big. I need to hide stuff. You can also like hold O and then press the mouse button to move forward and move backward, just like in a bit like in a FPS view. And if we want to move faster, you can also like with Y to like pan, and it's faster, like this. And if we have a selection, if I have something selected, I can also hold L, and I will like rotate around it. And again, I need to hide my things. But yeah, if I hold L, I can rotate around the selection. And I can also zoom in, zoom out by holding a mouse button. So yeah, it's freeze a bit because I the level, this level is the one I'm working on, and it's really big. So when I show everything, it starts like freezing and lagging. But luckily we can hide some stuff. I can do that right now. Don't worry about that. Beat this one. Okay, it's a bit better. Yeah, it's a bit better. Okay. So we can do the same thing with the other tree view. We can hold O to zoom in, zoom out by holding O, and we scroll the mouse. And same thing with E to move to pan the view. With all the view we can do that. O, zoom in, zoom out, move the mouse, and E to pan and move the mouse. How the viewport works. To work in a specific viewport, you need to have your mouse over it. When your mouse is over the viewport, there's like a highlight around the viewport, like that appears. And this highlight shows the viewport that is active currently by just moving the mouse in it. So if I'm in this one, I work in this one. If I move the mouse in this one, I work in this one. So it's pretty user-friendly. Another thing you can do with the viewports is you can maximize one of the viewports to take the whole screen. To do that, you need to hover your mouse on the viewport you want to be active, like we just said before. And then you want to press... oh no, you don't need to hover your mouse. Because if you press 1, you maximize the 3D viewport. So this is really nice to just like have a big view of like the 3D view. I have a big view of the 3D view. Oh, yeah, okay. If I press 1 again, it will go back to the 4. If I press 2, it will maximize this one, this viewport. I think, yeah, it maximizes this one. 3, it maximizes this one. And 4, it maximizes this one. So 1 is the one you want to use most of the time for the 3D view. Also, I think I don't want to forget is when you select an object, when you click on an object to select it, like this or this, if you're like far away from it, you can press Z to like zoom on it. Bam, like this. Like if I'm really far, I can go back to my selection by pressing Z, and then it will center on my selection. And if I'm really far from my selection, I can press, like we saw before earlier, we can press L to go in orbit mode. If I hold L on my keyboard, I go in orbit mode, and then I can hold left mouse button, and I can zoom in really fast. Or like if I'm really far like this, when I go to my selection, I can just press L, orbit mode, press left mouse button, hold both of them, and then slide your mouse to zoom in really fast on it, which is really useful. The next thing also is that you can resize them just like this, which most editor can do that. And you can resize the interface also, like this panel here. If I see this cursor, I can resize it. So the next thing I will take a look at is the just this left portion here of the editor. This portion is all your tabs, and each tab represents a different category. So here I'm in the properties tab. So the properties is the object I have selected in my scene. It's the properties of this object that will be shown here in the properties tab. So we can see like we have option. We will take a look at each of those later. Now we're just like globally looking around at each of the tab. So if we start at the first one, we have the text animation. Yeah, I said the first one, but when you click on it, it will change place to like center. But if we take a look at this one, text animation, it's a file browser, an explorer. So this will browse to like your project folder, and you can pick like this text animes is it's texture that are animated, so like movies. So if you have those, you will see them appear here, and you can edit them. The next one is world. This one we don't really use it, because normally when world is your scene, like it's scene. So normally you load a scene and you work with scene by just just open world, new world. You don't really use this tab. You use a normal like file and new world, open world, like every software. Like the top here is just your basic, like your file, you edit. Okay, so we have also texture. So this will show us like all the different texture, like the size of the texture, and you can browse in your project folder, every folder, and the one that have texture in it, they will appear here. If you double click, you have like the editor for it. We'll take a look at that later. The next tab is it's called prefabs. So prefabs are live. Prefabs are amazing. Prefabs are like other scene inside of a scene. So you have like your master scene, and you can have other scene inside of it that you can open separately, and each of them like will be updated in real time when you do a modification on one. So it's super useful. It's really great, and the prefab system in WorldEdit is really amazing. So the prefab tab lets you browse through each of the prefab in your project folder. So prefabs, they are basically your static mesh of they are like your 3D models that you will place in your level to decorate it. So each of those, not only are your like your 3D model to decorate your level, but they are also like, they can be like a rig, they can be like, each of them are a separate scene or a separate world. So they can be only like a visual thing, or they can be like they can contain animation, they can contain script, they can contain entities or AI inside of them. They can contain everything a world or a scene. They can contain everything a level can contain. So yeah, and each by default everything is like organized in different type of environment, like industrial, engineering, city. So you can find all your prefabs, like, and most of those here are the prefabs that that come with the editor, so they are like stock prefab. They come with the editor. And how do you place one in your level? You double click on it to place it. Double click, and if you want to open it, you right click and you open. So you can open it in a new scene. So this is this prefab in its own scene. So this is just like this is just geometry. Can close it. Yeah, if we want to work with many world or work with many level at the same time, which you will need to do when you have like when you work with your prefabs and then you work with your master scene, or you work with like sub scene. There's at the top right, there's the those button. You can minimize, restore, you know, like the classic like window button for window. So if we minimize it, like we click to make it like a smaller window, we can see that we have two scenes. We have the prefab scene, and we have, or I have more, and we have our master scene, and we have like other, like other. This is another level. So I have this level. I have this level, so I can have multiple like level. I can work on I can work on multiple scene or multiple level at the same time, which is really awesome. And if I want like to put it back to full screen, I can just maximize it again or minimize, and I can close the other one. Also, I can close this one. And it will tell me if I need to save changes I made, of course. But now, since I didn't change anything, it just closed without asking me to save the changes. So this is really important. This part that you can minimize the window and work on different scene, on different like viewport, and the how it works for like the management, like the active window, the window that is active is the one that will be shown here. Like every like parameter or the tree, the scene tree of this this level, the window that is active is the tree I will see of it. So let's talk about the tree, the scene tree itself. So at the far right here, I have my I have my scene tree, or my they call it the like in modern, like in most of software, they call it like the outliner. It's the it's like a organized view of your scene. So when you start a new scene, like if I do a new world, I call it Kiki 1. No world directory selected. Use prefab. Okay. So when you start a new world, you have an empty nodes. You have an empty like scene tree. They call it the nodes. By default, this thing can be at a different spot. Like this thing is probably with your other tabs. It's called nodes, but you can take any of your tabs and you can you can duck it in the tab, but you can also like unduck it, so you can take it out. and you can put it wherever you want in your like put it down here. But normally what I like to do is like I like to take my notes, my note window, because it's a window I will use a lot, so I want it always open, and I take it from my tabs, I undock it, and I put it like on the side. You don't need to do that, but you can do it to just see this window all the time. Otherwise this notes tab will be with those, and each time you want to see it you need to click on it to see it. So I prefer to have it like separated, so I can have like two tabs open at the same time. So I will just do the move if I can do it. If I can remember how to do it, I'm not even sure how to do that actually, but it's not important for the moment. So in your nodes view, when you start a new level, it's empty, and what you want to do is you want to organize your level with this nodes window. So to do that, you want to right click, and you can create new folder for it. For example, you can add new space, I think. Oh, no, just new space. You can add container, so this adds a folder inside of your. Yeah, sorry, I just forgot one thing. This is your level. The first one is like the root of your level. So you need to create a folder inside of it. So add container, and for example, this could be like room 1, and you add another one, and this could be room 2. And inside of room 1, you can create other folder, and this can be like I don't know, like kitchen, and with like doing that you can organize everything in your level. So if when you have like a big level, it's easier to like, oh yeah, I need to go inside room 1, I need to go into kitchen, and now I can like select object from the kitchen that are inside of it. And I can also use that to hide or freeze like selection. So for example, if I close this and I take like a level that is already made, you can see I have all of this organized like SPRIs. I have it organized into Office Part 1, Parking, and Sky, and each of those are organized into like other like subsection, and it can start to be like really big, because every object, every box, every like geometry or entities, it's all there. So at the end you have a lot of stuff. If you're stuck with the you lost and you don't know like where you are, and you have like everything, all of those shits like in front of you, you can select like one of the root folder, and you can hit F6, and it will like collapse every folder under it. So now you can like see better, or everything is organized. So if I have like all of this open, just go on the top, select the top folder, hit F6, and it just collapses the folder for a cleaner view. So like I'm coming back, I just like take a glance of it, but I'm coming back to the little boxes on the side of the folder. Those little boxes boxes are, the first one is to select the whole folder and everything inside it, and the second little boxes is to freeze the object inside of it. Objects that are frozen, you cannot select them, so they are not in your way. So if you do like selection, like global selection, it will not select the frozen object. But the thing that is really important, I think, that you should do is like what I have right now is when I click on the frozen box, it will also hide everything that is inside this folder. It will not only freeze them, but they are also hidden. So doing that, I can hide big portion of my map, and this will help me like this will help performances, so I can move around more, which I did at the start. If I have like a huge map and I don't and I show everything in my viewport, when my viewport will like see everything in the map, it will start to lag and it can freeze, and it's you know, it's annoying. This is because like the map is so fucking huge that it just can't show everything. There's like too much detail. So you want to organize your map to also be able to hide portion of it and just concentrate on the portion you want to work on. And by default, it doesn't do that. If I freeze my folder, it will not hide it. It will just freeze it by default. So to have it like I have right now, that it also hide it, you want to go inside your edit at the top, and then option. And I need to remember which one it is. I think it's in, because I'm not even sure. This could take a while to find because I don't remember where the option is for that. So to hide, to be able to hide the frozen object option, you want to go in the view at the top here, and you want to check hide frozen node. This by default isn't checked. You want to check it. So now if I click my little froze box of a folder in the node tab, it will hide the whole folder. It will hide everything inside the folder. So apart from that, of course you have like a little plus on the side to like, you know, like open, close. Apart from that, it's not really. Oh yeah, there's other thing, right? Yeah, this thing has like more stuff to talk about. Yeah, we take the time to do like mostly like a full view on the nodes window, because it's really important. So the other thing that you can do with this is, instead of add container, you can add a new space, and this is the same thing as a container, like a new folder, but this new folder is like a template. Like inside of it, like it's not empty. Inside of it, there's like a other subfolder that it created for you. So it's like a template. And those folders are like, you know, geometry, sector, lighting, sound, AI. So it's already like organized into like stuff you will do a lot of time. Like you want to organize it to like geometry, like details, lighting, AI. Like in each folder, like in my kitchen folder I created earlier, I want to do this. I want to create like a geometry folder, like a lighting folder, stuff like that. So this creating a new space create those subfolder for you, versus just add container, which only create like just one folder. Okay, so I can delete that. The next thing with this is that you can also like tag like a parent folder. So you can see that I have SP Erase in bold, but you can tag any of the folder in bold. And what this means is that it's the parent folder. So every new object you create will go inside the parent folder. So if I place a new prefab in my level, if I create a new geometry, by default they will go inside the parent folder, which is the folder in bold. So to make, now you see now it just did an auto backup. The editor can also do backups. I will show you that. So to highlight a folder in bold, I have my cat here. Okay. So to highlight a folder in bold, you want to press F3 on it, like this. And now you see my parking is highlighted in bold because I press F3 on it. So if I want office in bold, I press F3, and now office is in bold. So this is now the parent folder, and new object will go inside of it. So this is really useful to just place your new object right away inside the good folder, instead of like creating new object in a random folder and then you need to place it afterward. It's better to like select your parent folder first and then create a new object. So if I'm working in my kitchen again, I can make my kitchen folder the parent folder, and every like chair, fridge, I don't know, the floor, they will all go inside the correct folder. I think this is all for the nodes window. I will maybe come back to it later, but this is a good overview of it. Well, the last thing is that each of like you see there's like an icon, like a folder, there's like a folder icon, and each different object have a different icon. That's just a detail I want to point. So yeah, first box to select, second box to freeze, folder or a single object. Really important. Okay, so the next thing I want to take a look, the next like window or tab, it's the properties tab. I talk about it a bit. Texture, I talk about it. Prefabs, I talk about it. I have the materials tab. So materials, it's similar to texture, but the materials is the important one, because the texture you can have multiple texture inside one material, and the material is what you will apply to the object in your scene. So if I'm making a floor, I can apply bricks to it, or a wall, I can apply a material of bricks to my wall. So materials is what I will apply to everything in my level. Texture, you don't apply them. Texture, you use them inside materials and then you apply materials. So same thing for the materials. Here I have my browser and I can browse different material, like industrial. I can like browse industrial materials, like I have brick here. So yeah. The next tab is the FX tab. FX tab is a browser again for every type of FX, like smoke, or fire. Some of them have pictures, some of them don't have picture. But yeah, when you create like new materials or when you create new FX, you can give them a picture, and so you can see them easier in the browser, and you can give them a description. We will see that later, how to create like new asset. So the editor, it can do a lot. It do levels, but it can also it has also like basic asset tool. Of course, like the 3D assets, like the complex model, you do that in a 3D software or in an animation software. And like the FX, you do them in another editor, which is the FX editor for Fear. But there's like basic management that need to be done for each entry, each FX, each prefabs, each materials. There's like, you know, there's like management work. I need to name them. I need to maybe put a little description, and we will see how to do that in another video. So the next tab is sound. This will just list all the sound in your level. So it's empty because I just never use that. I never use this tab. Same thing for occlusion. I never use the occlusion tab. So I will not talk about those. And we did a round table of every tabs in there. So that's pretty good. So the next thing, so we take a look at every tab, we took a look at the nodes, and we took a look at the viewport. So the next thing is we will take a look at the top menu here. No, the top one here, with like the loading level, creating a new level. So this this top menu here is your like in every software you have like this menu like this: file, new file, save. You can import another level inside of your level. You can open your recent level that you worked on. I will just take a fast look of everything. Not everything, but I will take a quick look of the important stuff here. So in the edit one, we have cut, copy, basic stuff, undo, Control Z, really important. We have option, and oh yeah, those two are really important. So if I go inside option, I have all the option of the editor, like this level editor. Like I have the viewport option, I have when I run my level, I have the option for how to show the models. I have like other option here, option for the prefabs. I will maybe talk about them in another video, but you can also like, you know, you can read like perspective, box, wireframe, solid. This will show in your viewport like your object. They will show them texture or just solid, no texture, or in wireframe. It's pretty self-explanatory for most of them, like the controls, orbit around section, you know, options. Just read the option. I think you can understand what it is, but I will probably take a look again at this later. The next important window is this one, edit key configuration, really important. This is all the shortcuts of the editor. So there's a shit ton of them. All the action you can perform, they are all there, and you can have a shortcut for every action you can perform inside the editor. So I changed some of those myself, and a lot of those by default when you open the editor for the first time, a lot of the action they don't have a shortcut associated to them, so you need to add one. So that's why when I will do my other tutorials, I will do shortcut that you don't have, and I will tell you that you need to bind them. You need to bind new shortcut here. So that's it for the edit. In the view, I have some debugging option that I never used, except maybe level error detector. Yeah, you can scan your level to find issues. This is debug. Only the level error detector I use. The other one I didn't use, but they are there to do debugging, find issues with your level. You have the resource. This is window that can list. I just hit update. I need to wait now, but this, yeah, I think this will crash.
Oh, what did he do that?
Can I do? No, I can't. Let's make it white. Yay! Okay, it didn't take long actually. Like right when I stopped the recording to wait it just popped. So I did that for nothing. Okay, so like you see, it will list every assets of your level, every texture here, and it will show like the properties of it, like blah blah blah, width, height, and the path of it, and the statistic. And then you can like select the object that have it. So this is really like for debugging again, if you want to know like to debug, like to know like every asset you have in your level and to know which object has it. So when you export your level, and if you have like missing asset, you can know which one they are, I think, with this. So you have like that for texture, material, the shader. You have like one for every type of object. The other one, color selection, I don't know. This is for to enable or disable every of the toolbar or windows. This is your texture channel, UV channel, which I don't use for now, but this is to visualize UV channel 1, UV channel 2, UV channel 3. So if you have like a terrain with multiple UV channel for like I don't know, to have different mapping on it, you can visualize them here. The next one is a texture layer. I have no idea what this one is, or maybe this is a texture UV channel and this is something else. Well, it's one of the two. Then you have excuse me, you can set camera fauve. The other one I don't use. The next one is the mode. This one is important. You can work in multiple object selection or single. And the next one here is your mode of work. This is this is important, really important. This is the 3 mode of work you can have. You can either work in brush editing mode, in geometry editing mode, or in object editing mode. So if I work in brush mode, I can select brushes only, and I can work on those only. So And if I am in object editing mode, I can only like select entities and work on entities only. This is how we work inside the editor. So that way we can, it's easier to just not by accident select other stuff. Like if we are in object editing mode, we are certain that we cannot like edit or break brushes by accident. And really important is the shortcut for those, like Control B, Control G, Control H. You want to use a shortcut. You don't want every time to go mode, change, and then you do your thing and you change again. No, you want to use a shortcut. You want to work. Now I Control B, go. Control B, now I'm in brush. So I can select brush, I can work on brush. If I want to work on prefabs, I go in Control H, and now I can select my building because there are prefabs. So you want to work with the shortcut. So Control B, brush mode, Control H, object mode, and Control G, geometry mode. Geometry mode is when you want to do basic modeling inside the editor, like basic modeling, basic work on the geometry. This will be another video, of course, because that's a big subject. So the next thing I have is I have object selection filter. So this is another way to decide which type I want to select and which type of object I don't want to select. So if I uncheck all and I check only AI nav mesh, this means if I do a big selection on my level, it will only select the object type of AI nav mesh, which is really useful because it's just useful if you want like to, you have the, again, I have my kitchen and I want to just like do a big selection of my kitchen just like this. When you hold your left mouse button and you drag it, you do a selection, like a big selection of everything in this window. So if I select, I can do that also in my 2D view, like this view here. I can do a big selection of everything here, or even all the thing here, and it will select every brush. Because I'm in brush mode, it will select every brush here. If I go in Control H, object mode, by the way, they are here, brush, geometry, object mode, they are here also. But it's still better to use shortcut, like bam, bam, and bam, like to change this way faster with the shortcut. Control B, Control H, Control B, Control H, Control G is your friends. Those shortcuts, they are your friends. Okay. So I am in brush mode. I do a big selection, top view from the whole level. I select all the brushes inside my selection. But if I go inside my object filter and I have only like some object check, it will only select those in my selection. So really useful. The other one is the brush context. This is, I think this is the same thing as my object filter and my brush filter, brush context filter. This is the same thing but for the brushes, because I have again I have different type of brushes. I can have like a region, solid, nav mesh. This will select only this type. Okay. Okay, next one. Now I have my world, I have process, run, external viewer. So process, this will compile your level, which is here, process well. This will compile your level. So you process it. It will compile it inside a format that the game can read, so you can play it. And then after that, you can click this little light, process, to compile it, the level, and then you have the little light to run the level. So when you want to test your level, you need to compile it, and then you need to run it, and it will open the game. Same thing here, process and run, and I have shortcut for it because there's a shortcut for everything, and you can change, like we saw in edit key configuration. You can edit the shortcut for every action, and everything as a shortcut, every action and every like window here. The next thing is special. Those are options that normally I want to access with the right click, which we will see later. Same thing here. Add object, Control K. This is to add a new entity inside the level. Entities are object. They are like specific object for fear. So I have like a group, I have a decal, I have a dialogue, which is for fear. I have an ammo box, which is for fear. It's specific object for the game fear. They are entities. Same thing for Half-Life 2 and Hammer. You have like entities for like a door, a key, a physic object, or a character. Same thing here. And to add a new one, you want to use the shortcut Control K. Control K, add a new entity. So the selection, this is those are more option for your selection action, I mean. So if I select a brush, I go in selection, I can do a mirror of it, so it will flip it in the one of those direction. I can freeze it, I can hide it. So this is action for my current selection. Then I have the Navigator, which is this thing here. It's called Navigator. This thing, I can save my current position in space. So I am here right now, and I can save this position. So if I move, I can maybe do one. I have like parking right here, but if I do a new one, like store navigation position, I can call it here, okay. And if I move around at a different spot, I can load back this position I was. It's called here, so I can click on here, and now go to navigation position, and I will go back to where I was, where I saved my position. So it's pretty useful. This is pretty useful if you have a big level and you want to, you know, I'm in the kitchen. I don't know. I'm in the kitchen, and I want to save this position. I can create a new one. I can call it kitchen, and then when I select it, I can quickly go in the kitchen. So I can save one for the kitchen. I can save one for the exterior. I can save one for the bathroom. I don't know. The parking, which I have here. I have a parking one. If I go to, I will go inside the parking, which is not there because it's hidden. But if I unhide it, parking, I unhide it, and now it lags because it's big. Now I am inside the parking because it was hidden. I will hide it back. So Navigator, really useful, which I didn't really use it in this level, but it's really useful. You can save position and you can load it. Really useful to move around quickly in a level, and you know where you want to go. So store position, position list, and load the position. And you can also have your organized navigation position. This is all the one you save, and you can like move down, move up, or you can rename them. So really cool stuff. The next one is the brush. Brush option, brush. So in this okay. Okay, so long in my video is okay. Let's start it back. Oh boy. Okay. So my brush. Okay, what is a brush? A brush is a geometry object. A brush is geometry. So geometry is like every surface, the floor, the wall, every inside of an object it's made up of geometry. Like even if I go inside a prefab and I go inside like this thing here, open, like this is geometry. Like this is geometry. The top is geometry. Even if I import like a 3D object, or I work like on I don't know, a rig, or like an import a 3D object, they all end as geometry that we can edit and we can like modify inside the editor, which is like really interesting. Like every 3D object, all complexities you import, you can edit it. Like you can edit the geometry because they all finish into brushes, which is really interesting. So the geometry in this, it's called brush. We call them brushes. So the brush here, add primitive. We can add a box, a cylinder, like the primitive object, like we see in a 3D software. The box, cylinder, all our little friends primitive. the infamous box, the famous cylinder. Excuse me. English is hard. Okay. So primitive, flip, joint brush, like all of those, they are action for modeling, to work with brushes. So this will be in another video for the geometry modeling part. We'll take a look at every of those good stuff. So the next thing is window. I think this is preset for all. Those are preset on how the editor interface will look. And the last one is help. If you need help, I'm here. Okay. So help, you can open the help of the editor. So the developer like made this help file. So if you have question, you can just look around at this thing, how to set up the editor, how to build a box level, which sound amazing. How to build a box level, but it's the basic. Yo, I'm gonna build a box level. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a box, and then I'm gonna add more box inside of it. Okay, so yeah, box level are the best. Okay, so that's it, I think. Yeah, about WorldEdit. About WorldEdit, every software I have about about thing. AC edition version 1.8 build 282 to 2005. Yes. Okay. So I will. Okay, there's two things remaining. I will take a look at how to do auto backups, like because it's important. In the option here, you can go in autosave, and you want to enable autosave, and then you can tell how much time, how much delay between each of the autosave. So, and then the path to store them. So this at each of half hour, I think it's in minutes. So each half hour it will do a autosave of my level. So this is really useful because if you have a crash or if your computer fail or shut down and you didn't save your level, you will rage hard. So you want to enable autosave, so it will automatically do a backup at each half hour here of your scene. The next tab I will take a look, which we already took a look, is this one here. Like this tab here that I can take out. Oh, it's like multiple small one. Okay, I have standard, I have world editing, I have edit mode, and I have the navigator, and I have the node. Okay, so we'll take a look at those like real quick. We already did, but not all. So standard, well, standard thing: save project, create a new world, refresh your level, delete an object that is selected, copy an object, pass, stamp. I think stamp is only like a copy pass action. Undo and redo. Then the world editing. I have apply color to my selection. I have apply material to my selection. I have center view on selection, center view on marker. Okay, what is the marker? Because I have marker. So, oh, I can just put that back fast. Maybe like this. Okay, no, it's not. I will still because I don't see. What did I do? Okay, so the marker. What is the marker? If I press X on my keyboard, I can place my marker. Oops. So I hold X and I place my marker. So the marker is where new object will be created. When I create a new object, it will pop, it will appear at my marker position. So this is mostly the only function of the marker, is to have a default position for creating stuff. So if I place it here, my new object I create will appear here at the marker. If I can also place it in my 2D view like this, like it, you see it will place it like in my 2D view and my 3D view by holding X. So I have marker option in this window. I have center view on selection. This is a selection, which is that thing right now. This is my, I think it's a it's a building, and my camera clipping is clipping eerily. So I have center view in my selection. If I select something in my level, if I can say something small, it would be nice. Like if I select, I have my sector in the way. That's why they are fucking huge here. If I select this thing, like I can orbit with hell, like we saw here. But if I select this thing and I am far away from it, I can click center view and selection, and it will center my every view on it. I can also center view on my marker. So this is where my marker is. I can also marker to selection. So this is my selection. And if I click marker to selection, my marker will go in the middle of my selection. Then there's marker to camera, which I don't use. I think this is just to put the marker where I am. So if I click this, marker will be where I am. So I can go to my marker, center view marker, or I can be somewhere and I can say to my marker, come to me. So marker to camera. And now it will do the inverse, which is marker to me. I have also marker to vector, which I don't know what it is. I have object search, which is really useful. So I can search for a specific object with this thing. I have level texture. Again, this is what I opened before. And the level error detector, which I also opened before. Then the world string data, which I'm not sure what it is. I think this is to know create spreadsheet. I think this is a manager for your assets and your resource when you want to give your levels with all its file to someone. I think it's this. I'm not sure. And now you have now we have process world and run world, and we have a launch external viewer, which sadly we don't have. We don't have one. But this thing it's an external tool to view the level. Launch external viewer. So because this viewport is a viewer, like the default viewer, but it has, for example, one big problem is this viewport will not show the lighting of the level. So the lighting, when I'm doing lighting, I cannot see the end result inside my 3D viewport, which is one of the big minus of this editor is to view the final lighting. You need to compile the level, and you need to run the game, and you can only see the lighting inside like the game at the end, inside the game. But if we add an external viewer, we can maybe have it like see the lighting like without the need to compile the level every time and then test in game. But Monolith didn't give us their external viewer. We don't have one. Okay, so the next thing. No wonder why it's a big X, big cross. I think it's assigned to tell us there is none. The next one is the edit mode. Brush edit. This is our old friends, the brush edit mode, geometry mode, and object mode. Then the object selection filter, we saw that before in the top menu. Like all of those, most of those icons, you can access them in the top menu. Like in a lot of software, most of the thing you can access them in different ways. Like with icon like this in my menu, with my top menu, or with right click. Like right click in my selection, and I have those menus here. Object selection filter, I can set my alias. Same thing for the brushes, like we saw earlier. Now I have my Navigator, which we saw before earlier again, which let us like teleport into a saved position. We did that already. Here I have my I have only this little windows for only like 2 things, which is pretty funny. I have a single node selection and a multi-node selection. I'm not sure what this does. I think the first one is that if I'm in single selection, can maybe try. Like it will, each time I select something, it will deselect the old selection and it will select the new selection. So I only have one selection at a time. I have this selection, I have this selection. But if I check, if I go in multi-node selection, it will select both of them. So each time I do a new selection, it keeps the old selection. If I go in single mode, it only keeps one selection at a time. And this is it for those toolbar. The last thing I will check is the bottom row here. Like here, this bottom row, it's all the statistic and the information in the level. So I have my position, like my position is changing of my mouse, like my position where I am, it's all written here at the bottom. I have my the name of the brush selected. I have my grid size, which is really important. The grid size is one of the most important thing that we'll see again in the next tutorial, which will be about the modeling and the geometry editing. But the grid size is the size of the grid that we are working on. Now it's really small, it's at 10 centimeter, but to change it we can use the minus and plus button on our keyboard. Like you see here, when I tap on my my numpad excuse me, English is hard. On my numpad I have my minus and plus key, and when I press minus, it makes the grid smaller, and when I press plus, it makes the grid bigger. Smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger grid. And you can see it changes here. smaller 5 centimeter and bigger 10 centimeter, 50 centimeter, 1 meter, 5 meter. You see it's in power of 10, just like Unreal, the new Unreal, not the new Unreal, not the not Unreal 3, but just like in Unreal 4, we have a power of 10 grid size, which is neat because this represents the real. Excuse me. It's neat because it represents the real world units. So when we building the level, we are working in centimeter and meter in power of 10. So it's in the real world units. So if we are building a room, we can set it like to man, excuse me. Like we build a room, we can set it to a real world room size. So you can go on the internet, you can check how tall a room is normally in real life, and if you do that in the editor, it will be the same size as in real life because it's in meter and centimeter. So if I build a door, I know my door needs to be like near like maybe 2 meter, so you can know like the real size of it, which is really useful, versus having like units that are not real world. But real world units are better because you know if you build something of 2 meter tall, you know it will be 2 meter tall for real in your game. Which is really useful for fear. If for example, I put a character and my character is like, normally a person is like 1.8 meter. Like it's not 2 meter, but otherwise it's a tall person, but it's near 2 meter. It's like 1.8 meter a person. So you can create a box inside of the editor, and you can put its size to 1.8 meter, and this will represent the size of a person. So really useful. So that's it. That's this took way longer than I thought, but I did a big view of the editor of everything, like globally, and then I will have a separate video for each specialization, like one for geometry, one for texturing, one for like gray boxing, one for like level design and like entities, one for AI, and maybe one for lighting. So see you next time.